Hey guys, if you don't recognize who I'm interviewing today, well then I don't know what rock you've been living under. It is none other than the Don of Durban himself, Ricky Bad Boy Basnett. Welcome to the show, Rick.
Yo, yo, yo.
How you doing?
Nah.
All good, man. All good here in Sleepy Nasna.
In Sleepy Nasna? Oh shit, I thought you were in Cape Town.
There's two things in life that I'm very jealous about with you. Is one, you get to chalaka bunnies on a regular basis, like proper ones. And two, you made it into my wife's life before I did.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. I said I'm talking to Ricky Basnett, and she's like, oh, I had a poster of him on my wall. Growing up.
I mean, I've basically made it then. Yeah. I can call it quits now.
You were a pin-up boy, bro. Pin-up boy back in the day. Yeah. You weren't as chopped up then, so I think
you were still playing like, the innocent young guy doing
yes,
his thing.
Yeah. Bit of a mullet, bit of a baby face.
Oh, the hairstyles back then were beautiful. Yeah.
They were, bro. They were.
There's a bit of a bob that was coming down and kind of like hitting the shoulder here.
Yeah, that's bring back the step. Bring back the step. And I mean, over the years, you've kind of like, I think you've transitioned from. I mean, you were on the tour for however many years were you on the tour?
Well, I started traveling and stuff from when I was like 13 internationally, like pretty full on. And then I started the QS. So I did homeschool from like standard 7. Then I skipped a year of school and did my matric in 2 years so I could go on tour. So I went on tour when I was like 17 for about half the year.
Okay.
And then from 18 was my first full year. So 18, I had like a pretty good year. And then 18, I was getting into drinking. Like, I mean, before that I was too. But 18, maybe drugs started coming in. And then 19 was like a bit of a write-off year. And then, my next year I was 20 and that was the year I qualified. I kind of had that disaster year. Sponsors called me in and were like, listen, you got to slow the shit down, or at least before your heats and not rock up to the beach drunk and shit. So it's like, okay, cool. I'm going to go for it this year. I'm going to like train and shit. And I qualified that year. I think I got a second in the Margaret's event and then won the Mr. Price and got another result in America or whatever.
But that was the first time in 27 years that a South African had won a CT event in South Africa, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think
after Shaun Thompson.
78 or something, yeah.
Yeah.
So it was, that one.
That one
was
sticks
a cool
in
one.
your mind.
Yeah, but I was hanging for days and days after that. I think I outdoor poisoned myself at night. And I think it was on a Sunday. I didn't get out of bed till like a Thursday. The different times back then in the surfing world. Yeah.
Oh yeah, bro.
You went smoothies before your heats. So it was a bit of a different.
The Joe Cools days. The Joe Cools days.
Joe Cools days.
Sand pebbles.
Yeah. So I mean, I was on the CT. I had a pretty good first year. Came like 20th, somewhere around there. And then throughout that year, I kind of, the CT wasn't what I expected. You know what I mean? Competing in itself, I never was really, like my heart was never really in competing. It was kind of just something that you had to do if you wanted a career in surfing. You know what I mean? There was, especially in South Africa, there's no one besides Frankie who was doing the free surfing thing. And it was kind of just what I got pushed into, I guess.
Yes.
And pretty soon after making like the CT and shit, it was almost like an old boys tour. You know what I mean? There's guys that are at the top, there's top 10 dudes, and they've been there for ages, and they make the rules, and you have to perform the way the judges want, and you have to do this and that, and attend these meetings. And I was just like, "Fuck this! Like, this sucks.
This is business.
This doesn't feel like surfing to me. It feels a bit like, I don't know,
business.
Yeah, for sure. So like, I wasn't surfing the way I wanted to surf because I had to surf for criteria. I don't know, it did my head in. And along with that, I was getting more caught up in the drinking and all that shit. So I think that was 2008 was my last year on the CT.
Yeah, I think you had a really good year in 2007, wasn't it? You got up to like
20, was pretty good. Got a couple of results and stuff. And listen, it was fun. It's so hard because at the time I was traveling to flipping Fiji, Tahiti, Europe, all the most incredible places you could ever imagine, and staying on the beach and mansions and shit. But inside I was depressed. I was over it. Like, I remember getting to Hawaii at the end of the year in 2008, and I mean, most Hawaiis were a writer for me, but I was staying in the Rip Curl house on the beach at Park, and I don't think I even left my room. Like, in the 3 weeks I was there, I just sat in my room and drank. Yes, I was over it. My room stank and it was disgusting, and it was just really hard to explain to people how I could be this depressed and unhappy when I was living this fucking dream. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It was an incredible learning curve to go through, and it shaped me in a huge way. So I mean, grateful for all that shit. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a good thing to hear, because I think, again, a lot of the groms of today and aspiring up and coming surfers who are sort of heading in that direction, it's good to hear stories like this, because it's not all bells and whistles, eh? There's a lot of pressure that goes with it, and I know there's.
People forget as well about it is traveling is intense, and a lot of the time, like, so I thought when I made the CT, I was like, oh god, I'm getting put up in these places, and I'm not paying for shit, and I've made it now, and nothing really changed too much from the QS. It was like, you're still missioning, you're still staying in pretty shit places, and you're rocking up to places your boards haven't arrived. You've got to try to get your mental state right, and at that time, I think luckily for guys now, they have the people they're looking up to, like Griff and Italo, and these dudes they're machines, you know what I mean? These are athletes.
100%.
Like, just killing it. And the guys I was most inspired by was like Wardo, Andy, Corey, that whole crew. So it was really different. Yeah, we'd be staying in France. I remember waking up before heat one morning. It was like 6 a.m, and Water had just come back from a jaw, and he was fucking outside our window, just like shadow boxing, like no one. Just like, those were wild.
Yeah. I remember Aki like getting on the table in Durban in one of the bars, you know what I mean? Totally out of it, and like dancing, like something out of North Shore, the movie when he was like going bush. But I mean, that was surfing back then, eh? It was, and today they've got like nutritional coaches.
In a way, I really miss it too. There's just nothing I'm so bored with surfing at the moment. There's so few guys that are doing anything that is inspiring. It's like, there's just this cookie cutter kind of production line of guys coming through, and I just wish someone would do something different, or like, and even the guys that are doing different shit, it's like, I'm riding different boards, I'm like an alternate dude, blah, 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 but you're still just fitting into that same crew of guys. I don't know. Yeah. I wish there were more Archies or
I hear you, but the thing is as well, is like, it's a very difficult thing to find that balance, especially with like a persona like yourself, because what you're describing is you're not mainstream, and I don't think you ever were. Whereas like when you've got sponsors and you've got like things to live up to, you kind of have to conform, and the whole thing about what we at Ferral are saying is like, when we do these collabs, finally we're saying to an artist or whoever that we're collaborating with, like, we're not putting you in a box. You've got design freedom. You can do it. You can express yourself. And the beauty of that is, like, as much as designers or athletes or whoever enjoy the bucks, they also hate the fact that, they get a remit and they get told what they need to do. Oh, you're a great designer. I love your style. But actually, my client says, I want you to do this. And then you kind of like, you end up feeling the way you do. Your creative freedom is like your wings are clipped. And so like to be able to say to them, like, go boss, you know what I mean? And like,
that ties in exactly to what I was saying about that creative wings getting clipped. That's exactly how I felt while I was competing and through that whole system. It's just every way that you want to express yourself in your your own individuality, you're kind of just getting pushed into these little boxes. And for some people it works. For me, it didn't. So it's cool that you guys are doing this. So
thanks, bro. Yeah, well, we'll keep feeding you with what we're doing. And like, I think that a lot of young people like me, especially, I left South Africa as soon as I turned 18 and I went to Europe simply because like, that old reserved mentality, you got to kind of like, you must earn respect. You got to, this authoritarian, and like, again, it's like you feel completely like wings clipped. And as soon as you get over there, you get treated with respect as a young person. You get given independence. You get empowered. Basically. So yeah, everything that you're saying is like completely like resonates with how I felt growing up, because I don't think we're too far apart in age, but it's cool. And I mean, some of your latest work, you're now moving into, I see you doing a lot of photography, which is pretty cool. There's some creative expression happening there too.
Yeah, so it's been like a weird journey for me as well. Growing up, I've always done, I guess I've wanted to please, I'm a people pleaser in some ways, you know what I mean? And I think in my creativity as well, throughout in my past, I've done things that I thought people would like, or thought like this would get me recognition or some shit.
Yeah.
And now in the last couple of years, I purely do shit now that makes me happy, and whether people like it or not, I don't really care. Because so with photography, that's something over the last few years. I mean, I've been shooting for ages, but in the last year or two with the street stuff, it's just it's an amazing. It's almost like surfing. You by yourself. You know what I mean? You pick up your camera or you pick up your board, and you're going out into this environment, and you interacting with this environment.
Yeah.
It's every time I come back, I feel the sense of connectedness in a way. And I think it's all like, I mean, just mingling around in Durban with real, it just feels real. You know what I mean? You're in the city and there's no pretense, or there's no, people are going about their daily lives, and you're kind of just lost in there amongst the stuff. And there's no surfing news in your head. There's no anything else. You're just kind of there and finding these beautiful shots, or trying to find this. And that, like for me as well, the street shooting stuff, I get a kick out of it from it's like an adrenaline rush in a lot of ways. Because if I love going to like Warwick Triangle and like these little alleyways in town and shit, and just by myself with my camera, and you run into some weird shit sometimes, you know what I mean? I've come around a few corners and O's are getting fucking baptized, and like pretty much every time I go and a guy will look at me and like, bro, this is not safe. Like, please don't walk around with this shit here.
Yeah.
But in saying that, I've personally never had trouble there. Everyone, if you go in with a smile and a open attitude, you kind of get accepted.
Yeah, good vibe.
Yeah, there's like, I mean, the photography shit, I paint almost every day. I've been tattooing a lot lately. It's just, I think personally, I get bored. If I just surf all the time, I get bored.
Yeah.
It just.
It's one segment of your
creative. I've got this, like, I just need to create something. I don't know. It doesn't have to be anything. If it's a piece of paper and I fucking draw for a bit, then I'm happy. It's like something that I just need to get out of myself.
You got to fill a void as well. You got to fill that creativeness.
Yeah. I mean, I used to fill it with drugs and drinking, and when you stop that and you realize how much time you have, you know what I mean? You're not just sitting dying from a hangover all day.
Yeah.
So like when you're in that state, it's easy. You drink, you die, you wake up. Oh, I've got some energy. I'll drink again. Okay, cool. So
It's a
You
vicious
break out
circle.
of that cycle and you just got so much time to do shit, which is amazing.
Going back to your photography, I mean, I really like from an artistic perspective what you're doing because, for me, and I think this is an interesting sort of dynamic in like people who haven't been in Durban for a very long time and they visit Durban and they kind of like, back in the old days, I remember catching the minor bus down to the workshop and then running with my board barefoot from the workshop to like New Pier or whatever. And like it's a completely different vibe now. And a lot of people who are like, oh, Durban's just not the same, eh? Durban's this and Durban's turning into this. But you know what? It's because they're not connecting. They're not connecting. I mean, firstly, the world is an ever-changing place.
That's the thing, connecting. That says it all, kind of. You know what I mean? Whenever someone comes to Durban, it's the promenade and fucking Shaka and Moya and whatever.
Gateway.
And that's what you see. That's Durban. And that's my whole mission, is to try and, I just want to document real Durban. You know what I mean? Like, and try to show people that this is where we live. And it's, I don't know, I fucking love town. It's the best energy, and I feel at home there. And it's vibrant, and there's colors, and there's smells, and there's, I find the promenade in that place so utterly boring compared to town. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's like it's well, the only constant in life is change, but people who want to live in I love living in square boxes. My home is very square, but because it allows for noise within that. But what I'm trying to say is, like, in the old days, Durbs used to be like these safe zones, you know what I mean? And everyone used to just like, you could do this and you could do this, and now it's like you say, it's like somewhere finally, like up in North Africa, where if you walk through Marrakesh and you smell the spices, and Durban's got that vibe about it now. If you go in there, and what you're doing is, like, when I look at old pictures of like the old swimming pools, when you used to go and swim as a latte, and like how it's completely morphing into something else. Like, I really find it like really cool,
I find it so interesting that it's 2020 and everything's progressed so far. And if you just step a couple streets back from the beach, it's like you're back in the 70s. You know what I mean? If anything, things have almost gone back a little bit. So it's weird. It's this weird juxtaposition of progress and stagnation, and it's wild.
Cool, bro. Cool. Well, we dig it. I mean, I certainly do. I think what you're doing is lekker. So just keep feeding us with that cool content, bro.
God, thanks.
Made in South Africa was a lekker little video made by
the Red Bull one.
Yeah, I watched that. I watched it a few times. It was quite lekker.
It was a very cool series. It was nice to kind of put the Bluff on the map again.
Definitely.
And show people what it's all about and stuff. But yeah, I love working with Jason. So that has done more for me than anyone in terms of movies and stuff. So yeah, anytime I get to work with Jay, it's sick. And he always produces the goods. So
no regrets. Was
Jason,
really good as well.
Let's do another one. Yeah.
Please, Mr. Hearn, please. Yeah, lekker, bro. It's so cool to like finally get to chat to you. Is that some of your art behind you there?
I painted this guy. Oh, check that. This is my camera.
Oh, beauty. Nice.
Yeah, he's this little medium format guy that I found, and it works 100%. And that's the viewfinder. You check through there.
Beauty.
So I've been loving these. What?
Analog. Back to analog. Strip it back. Just back to analog.
Yeah, I think in a world where everything's moving like a million miles an hour, something that takes your time a little bit more is good, Slow you down a bit.
100%. Lekker, bro. Cool, man. Well, I mean, I really appreciate you giving us some light of day, bro. It's been an absolute pleasure to be able to chat to you, and I just hope that you keep feeding us with your creative energy. Anton is actually, I don't know if you know of a filmmaker called Wes. He did a movie called Rumba about Wes is keen to actually shoot something with us pretty soon, and Anton Butler is building by hand a place in the Karoo on a farm, and he's just about finished it. And the idea is for him to shape some boards on the farm in the Karoo, and then maybe take a trip from there to Vleesbaai, because when that place works, it's pretty epic, you know. So we're pretty keen to put something together. So maybe like give it some thought, dude. And I think it would be some interesting sort of interactions, and like just you such similar characters in many ways, you know. Both of you are like, if everyone goes this way, yokes go that way, and that's exactly why I think the production would be sick, bro. So just bear it in mind and give it some thought. And Ricky, thanks for your time, bro. All the best, eh?
Have a good day.
You too. Enjoy Dove, bro. Miss it. Cheers.
Back out.